Do you have what it takes to be a successful woman entrepreneur? I wish I could say that it's a level playing field in business, but the reality is that it's not. Today we'll learn about the additional resilience, ingenuity, and grit it takes to succeed despite the roadblocks many women face. We're joined by two women who built their powerhouse law firm, Hightower Reff Law, Susan Reff and Tracy Hightower Henney, who will show us what it takes to be a successful woman entrepreneur. Susan Reff, Tracy Hightower Henney, thank you for being with us here on the Omaha podcast. No pressure with all the cameras that are on your faces right now.
This is new for us, Matt, the camera and the podcast at the same time.
Well, I know. You host your own amazing podcast, The Lady Lawyer League, but that's just audio. So you're leveling up, as they say.
We are used to microphone sans video.
Sans?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Without.
Oh,
that's what it means.
That's what that means.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a new line of shoes, like Vans.
No,
it's different.
no.
Okay.
Sans means without.
So you are partners, Hightower Reff Law, a law firm here in Omaha, Nebraska. And not only that, but you were successful in pretty much every venture. Well, most every venture. I'm sure you've had your some that didn't work out like you planned, but very successful entrepreneurs as well. And also, I think I would say leaders of our community when it comes to activism and especially women's issues. So it's great to have you here on the show to basically tell us all your secrets because we need all of the answers.
You can't have the secret sauce recipe.
At least give us a few secrets. You don't have to give us the secret to grandma's fried chicken, but just maybe a side dish secret, like the mashed potatoes or something. So how does it feel, I guess, first off, to be where you are today as successful entrepreneurs, as successful businesswomen and doing what you do and what you love to do versus where you started out?
Oh boy, where we started out was just trying some things and seeing what happens. And I think where we are today, I think the first word that came to mind when you asked that question is overwhelming sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
There's things that fly at us and we're like, oh, it's been 10 years. We haven't had that yet. Okay, sit down, talk about it. Yeah. And you sort of think after 10 years, you would have thought of it all. And there's you get tested, but in a good, challenging way.
I think, a feeling that I feel is lucky because, we didn't have a game plan. We didn't have a script, something to just follow and do exactly what other people were doing.
We threw a lot of audibles. I just learned what that meant.
Audibles?
See, it's
in
a
football.
sport.
Like Peyton Manning, his infamous audible is Omaha.
Oh. It's a sports phrase to change the game.
Aha. I didn't know those.
I'm really proud that I used that. I think you did.
For those
really.
Who don't know, Tracy loves throwing in sports catchphrases and terminology.
But not really.
I feel like they're everywhere, but yeah, I do. I feel like Tracy said, lucky, and we did try a lot of things, and some things don't work, and some things work for a little bit, and then you have to change them. But I don't think we would be where we are if we weren't willing to take some chances here and there too. But smart chances.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably the starting point. If this is like a masterclass, this episode on how to be a successful woman entrepreneur, really any entrepreneur. Women are going to face more challenges. It's the reality. It's not fair. It sucks in many ways, but it's just something, it's the reality that you deal with right now. But even just entrepreneurialism in general, I think most people don't even get started because they don't want to take that risk. And I think everybody could have a great or a good idea, but it's those who are willing to, take that initial leap of faith. You may fail, but you're not going to succeed if you don't do that first step.
Tracy is the risk taker between the two of us. She's the one who's like, I'll try anything and see what happens, or I will listen to someone give me a speech about their product for 15, 20, even an hour. And if I don't like it, what's it worth? Just a little bit of my time. Whereas
Susan's the crockpot thinker. She's like, hold on, we cannot take that chance yet.
Wait.
Yeah. And I think it's been that mix that has gotten us really far of if I was able to just take all the risks without some crockpot.
I think I would love your law firm even more than I already do if that was the case. be like, all right, everybody's required to have pink hair.
Pink glitter nails.
Yes.
Yeah, there'd be 400 lawyers.
Yeah. We would all figure it out.
Yeah.
Everybody would have a pink Beetle car.
So having a
something
good
fun.
balance then, a yin to your yang.
Yep.
I know like my brother Ben and I are the same way. Like I'm probably the more eccentric, try anything, and Ben's more like, what the hell are you doing, Matt? Put your clothes back on. No. But I mean,
Yes.
you have to have a good balance. I
Ben,
think.
where are you? Come over here.
He's the regulator.
Yeah.
For me. So starting out, you met working downtown, working in. You were both
Yep.
lawyers, and you're working, and you say, "Hey, here's a crazy idea. Let's team up." It's like a super group team up. So how did it get started? How did you kind of form what is now Hightower Ref Law?
Literally just like that. Like, here's a crazy idea. Let's team up.
Yeah. Well, Tracy's specialty at the time was doing family law and mine was doing criminal defense. And if those two types of law overlap a lot. And the other thing is we're both representing individuals in a tough time in their life. And so people come to you when you're an attorney and they think you can do everything. And they're like, oh, you can handle everything from my will to my business startup to my criminal defense case. They think we do everything and we don't. So we would refer cases to each other or chat about cases that were overlapping. And at that time in my career, I was like, absolutely no family law. I mean, I was afraid of the unknown. Divorce law has kind of a tough connotation to it, even amongst lawyers. Like, that's a hard area of law. It's very emotional, blah, blah, blah.
It can get ugly.
It can get ugly. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm never going to do that. And then so we started chatting more and more and more. And then we were, I think both looking for changes. And Tracy was looking to grow. And I think I was just looking for a change. And so that's, I think, the best way to describe how it kind of came about. And it was just kind of float this idea. It wasn't like either one of us had a plan that we fit the other person into or something like that.
The secret is that Susan hated me when she first met me.
I did not.
Yes, she did. She thought I was crazy.
I did. There.
And then like 3 weeks later, we were looking for an office space and having to sign a 7-year lease
not
somewhere.
3 weeks.
Yeah, like that commitment part when you're committing your finances. That's when
scary.
it gets real. Yeah.
Well, and in my mind, a little bit of my not my usual sense, but I was like, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You just start something different then. Like if it doesn't work out between us, it doesn't.
She's still thinking that today.
I think
I'll just start something new if it doesn't work.
Like a I don't give an F clause. You have to have that kind of mentality. Like obviously you care a lot. It's like a child almost. Your business. It's that time involved and you're that connected. But you kind of have to have this. I'm willing to take risks. I don't care if I fail, and I'll just learn from it and move on. So like just speaking to someone who is maybe in your position where you were. Just starting out, and they're listening now, and they want to take that leap. What would you recommend, like that help kind of push someone over the edge? To take that leap, take that risk, that chance, be smart about it. But what got you the needle finally, I guess, moving for you to just do it?
I think any recommendation is talking to as many people as you can, and having some sort of support system. Whether that's financially or someone backing you, like a CPA or an attorney that you can talk to about starting a business. And then just talking to people that have started a business. Like, what are the things that you did that you wish you would have done differently? And I think for both of us, like I have a management bachelor's degree in business management. And then I did some law practice management classes in law school. So like that was sort of my educational piece of figuring out how you can do it in the real world. But if you're thinking of starting a business in general, you gotta learn from some other people's mistakes too. And that's like talking to people.
Like surrounding yourself to, like they say, the 5 people around you is, who you will become or who you will be. Do you think that was important too, having mentors and successful people kind of in your circle?
Yeah, and I think, like Tracy said, knowing you could pick up a phone and call someone out and ask them a question about whatever it was, and they would take the time to answer it for you. I mean, that's a gift to have someone who's willing to say, I can help you, and I want to see you succeed. I remember I lined up. So I had been my own both of us were solo practitioners. So we both already at least had that framework where we were running our own businesses where we were the only person. So I had an attorney who I talked to a lot, and he also was someone who gave me a lot of advice on tech issues, which is completely outside my wheelhouse.
Still is.
Yep, totally. Will admit. How to set up an email, how to set up a website, how to do any sort of digital online presence, all of that. And then, the CPA person. And then I had a couple attorneys who were out there practicing who'd been in private practice. Now, maybe they weren't, running their own show, but they had seen a lot and been around a lot. So they were able to guide me with different things that would come up day to day.
So you also have a very unique path in like how you operated. I think as when you came together with Hightower Ref Law, I've noticed this from day one. It's a different culture than I think many businesses, many companies, in ways such as you support and promote and encourage women, I think, more in a male-dominated industry, heavily with law, more than any other firm, at least in our city here in Omaha that I'm aware of, maybe even the Midwest. And you do that, you do it in a fair way, and you do it for the right reasons. And then also other issues that you're passionate about, you're not afraid to say, no, we're going to support this cause. We're going to support LGBTQIA plus persons before it's as maybe acceptable as it is in 2022 today, and you do that. I think most businesses look at stuff like that and they say, this is a risk. Why are we taking this risk? It could blow up in our face if we take a stand or if we let our personal values influence how we do business. We're here to make money or make a profit, and that's it. And they stay neutral. Well, was there a decision, or did that just come naturally? What do you advise to people who don't really know, how do I make the right choice here, and they feel that struggle?
I think part of being lucky is that Susan and I believe in most of the same things, but also
Tracy likes cilantro.
Oh yeah, Susan hates cilantro.
And onions.
What about oregano?
No, cilantro's like it's like a
she despises cilantro.
Or hate it.
Really? I don't know if I've even had it. Maybe on something. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of.
You can make it in a smoothie. It's really good.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. Like a whole bunch of it.
Like I'm thinking. I know oregano. I've seen in the container.
Oregano, not the same.
Not a lot of Mexican food.
Cilantro and parsley.
I'm thinking of green onions. That's what's popping up.
Scallions.
Yeah.
I'll eat those too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
But other than cilantro.
So other than that.
So we do believe in a lot of the same things and like taking a stand on a lot of the same things. So that was a lucky thing, I think, for us, that just like, okay, do we want to donate to this cause or volunteer our time? Yep, that makes sense. And as we've added more attorneys, we've had to be mindful of, okay, well, this attorney is volunteering on a board over here. Do we want to donate to that? Because we get asked to donate our time and money to a lot of different places. So we've had to really be intentional on, where are our values, and where do we want to put that time and effort. And so we talk a lot about that.
So it's very intentional.
Yes, now it is.
Before
it was like,
it was just it just came naturally, but now it's an intentional mindset.
Well, and I mean, for me, part of owning your own business is you get the ability to do that. You get the ability to use whatever power and influence you have with your business to support what you want to support. And I mean, Tracy and I don't apologize for being, supportive of Planned Parenthood or of the ACLU or things that sometimes can be polarizing. And we're like, well, just as like we're not the lawyer for everybody, we understand that. This may be another reason why we might not be the best lawyer for you, but that's okay. That's okay in our mind,
It's interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we also, have realized that by taking a stand or like being vocal about these things, that we can use that power as a lawyer to the benefit of the community, as opposed to just staying quiet and just looking at profit. So I think, we've also realized over 10 years, you can't make everyone happy either. Yeah.
It's fascinating to me on a national scale. You see companies, advertisers who are slow to come around, and people crave and really demand authenticity now more than ever. I mean, that's why podcasts, as an example, are so popular, because they aren't censored by advertisers. They aren't censored by a corporation or a company saying, no, just play it safe. watered down content works just fine for our bottom line.
Right.
But then at the same time, you have companies that you see when they do take that initiative, when they are authentic and real from right out of the gate, those are the ones that seem to be rewarded the most. So it's interesting that we can all see it for what it is, but still so many major companies are kind of slow on the uptake as far as coming around to just doing what they actually believe and support. So it's refreshing to see what you've done. I mean, I know when I first started doing some video work for you, I felt very kind of honored. I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, why am I? Because there was just all women there. I'm like, why am I the only guy here? And I'm like, okay, well, this is this is awesome. Like, this is a whole new vibe, a whole new culture I hadn't really seen or been a part of. It was very refreshing to see because. I mean, I have that same belief and align with what you're kind of pushing for as well. That there aren't enough voices being elevated that need to be heard.
Right. And I think the difference between kind of what we have been able to do and maybe some of these big corporations is the difference between big corporate and small business. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're small, the risks feel bigger, but they also the rewards feel better too. Mm-hmm. Whereas Amazon once a year can wave their pride flag and say they did the right thing.
Yeah, and I feel like that feels. Do you see that as almost feels disingenuous when you have companies as great as it is to have them come around? Like we just had our Heartland Pride Parade this summer in July. You see more companies there than I've ever seen before. Yeah. I remember when we were going there 7-8 years ago for our TV show at the time, and we weren't. It was not nearly as, I guess, popular. I don't know if that's the right descriptor, but you see it. That's great, but it's like, where were you 10 years ago when you knew the same thing was the same issue? And it just feels kind of, do you see people maybe turned off by that nowadays?
I would say you'd have to look a little bit behind the scenes. Like, does that company also have, equal hiring practices, equal pay and all of that? And so if they're putting all of their actions behind it, not just showing up at Pride,
I think the other thing about advertising is we figured out a long time ago it's really hard to advertise for divorce. It is, right? It's sad, it's traumatic, it's scary.
Very personal.
And we, took sort of a snarky-ish approach to it.
If you haven't seen the billboards, by the way, around town for High Tower of Law, they are brilliant and hilarious, and because there's truth. That's what makes great comedy. There's truth behind them.
Yeah. It's the buzz of the courthouse. There's one judge who loves our billboards, and his favorite one is the one that says marriage is the leading cause of divorce.
Yeah.
Just like snarky, and that was sort of a play on COVID. But we also run our law firm like a business, and I think that somewhere got lost in the minds of other lawyers. We track how our clients come in so we can figure out decisions for other marketing opportunities. We, know how much our networking is working or not, and then we can decide to do something different. So I think that has played in a lot of the success too, that we gather a lot of data in order to make business decisions, where I think a lot of law firms and lawyers are just sort of like, well, my job is to represent clients, not run a business. And there's an overlap between those two that is really important.
That produces a lot of jerks, like this jerk mentality, which I've never understood. I think investing in relationships and how you treat people, it's the easiest form of marketing. It creates referrals, it builds trust that'll last a lifetime of your relationship, and you can't. That has just a priceless value to it, and I think you've done that as well. And that's one thing I noticed. Like, your follow through with your culture isn't just on the surface of who you hire, but it's like you said, not just showing up to a Pride Parade, but hiring people who are from that community and different voices, different perspectives, and then the networking. That was the next thing I wanted to ask you about. So networking, like Tracy. I mean, I know Susan, you network as well, but like I've personally seen Tracy. She's maybe the can I say fiercest networker I have ever seen? And
I'm sure she has me topped, so she can have.
I don't know. Susan knows everyone in a room.
Well, I think just like our personalities, I think we probably network a little bit differently, which is awesome because then we're hitting more people.
So what's a secret for that? Give us a secret or a tip on how somebody can network in the most effective way possible here in Omaha in this market.
You have to look at networking as building relationships, and you cannot look at networking as what can this person give to me. Right. It takes a lot of relationship building for one person to refer you a client. And so you have to recognize that being interested in the other person, I like to network and not really think about it as networking. Like, hey, you seem like an interesting person. Tell me what you do. And then you can make connections that way. But if you're like, here's what I do and I want you to send me referrals, you're never going to make a connection with that person.
Yeah. It feels it's like the hard sell versus the soft sell approach. Like I found nobody wants to get the hard sell where it's buy this now, and it feels very disingenuous.
Yeah. There's a lot of circles and places though that you can network where people expect you to ask, to go to lunch or coffee with them. So it's not weird. Like, I'm going to tell you about my business. But if you're going to lunch and you're getting the hard sale, you're sort of like, I'd like to just get to know you first.
Can I just eat my salad first?
Yeah.
I think another really good way that I network that I'm comfortable with is you can network up and down. Like I network with people who are brand new lawyers. Why not get to know them? Yeah. I network with people who are my equals, and then I network with people who are way above me who I don't know if they'll want to give me any sort of business, but I have something I can learn from them. Mm-hmm. So I look at it that way too. The relationships are, what can I learn from this person? What could they learn from me?
So to bring this around full circle here, if we had to, I know this is challenging, but if we had to narrow it down to just like the top 2 or 3 pieces of advice you have, if I were to ask the question or set you up with how to be a successful woman entrepreneur in Omaha, Nebraska, what would you give us for your answer to that, for your tips?
I would say one thing is know what you know and know what you don't know, and what you don't know, figure out how you're going to fill that in. Like we don't do our own accounting. We don't do our own advertising. We don't do our own podcast. Yeah, we could turn on our phone, right, and talk into our phone or whatever and probably come up with a podcast. It's going to suck because that's not what we do. So know where your holes are and fill them with the right people. And don't be afraid of that. I mean, I think some people don't want to admit they don't know things or don't want to spend the money or the time to get to know those things, but it's like building the foundation for your business.
So I'm hearing is know who to trust, and don't be afraid to delegate to those people you trust.
Absolutely.
All right, mine are all about like being ballsy.
Okay.
Ballsy. There's an air of confidence, I think, that comes with it too, and sometimes that comes with experience and time, but like, we were at the Pride Festival and we didn't know if we could get past this one gate. I didn't have a wristband on because it was down at the table. And I was with 2 of our younger lawyers, and I said, come on, just walk through here. Like, just pretend like you belong here and that you're able to, get past this. And we just did that. We just like walked without and just say hello to the people at the table. And they're like, whoa, that worked. And I was like, yes, of course it did. And so I think there's that air of like knowing that you are good enough to be here, especially as a lawyer in the courtroom and as a young woman lawyer. The ageism thing that I think we dealt with for a long time, you just have to go in there, be more prepared than any other person in the courtroom too. But you also have to be prepared for, those mansplaining comments that as a woman entrepreneur or a young person is just going to get. And you have to be prepared for that. And I think you have to be ready for what kind of reputation do you want when you respond that way, a certain way to that stuff. So
you don't have to be okay with it.
That's right.
I know minorities deal with that every single day where, no, it's not okay. Yes, we need to keep working hard to change it, but pretending like it doesn't exist. Right. It's not gonna help you. And the fake it till you make it. That is so true. And even the most successful people any of us know deal with imposter syndrome, where they doubt themselves. And you have to tell yourself. I mean, even I do the same thing. I'd say, nope, I belong sitting at this table with 2 of the most successful, respected women in Omaha. And I belong here. I mean, okay, maybe that's
your studio. So,
but it is my studio, and I did invite you. So I guess that we're paying for everything. But no, but it is very true. You have to say, I belong here.
Yeah.
Even if you don't feel like you do belong.
Yeah.
So any last words of wisdom for entrepreneurs in Omaha?
I think it's okay to take chances, and being like, failure is such a crazy, dirty word, right? Like, oh, that didn't work out. Well, sometimes that's the best thing that ever happens, right? It didn't work, and they tried something new, and that was the best thing ever. So flipping the lid on a failure.
Flipping the script.
Flipping the script. There you go.
Dust yourself off and try again.
Yeah, try something new.
Who sings that?
Yeah, fail and fail often. That's what a meme from Will Smith taught me. So, and it's very true. Yeah.
Great. We're gonna end on Will Smith, are we?
No. Okay, Tracy needs.
Yeah. Failure is growth. How about that? This is a better one.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
So I just gave my dad a birthday card yesterday, and it said, "Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts." And then it was something like, "What number birthday is this? We're not counting." But anyways, that was an Einstein quote, and that was a...
Yeah, because you just celebrated your 30th birthday, so...
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And not too long before that, I was 21.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. So
congratulations on the anniversary.
Yeah, thanks.
And we'll have all the links to Hightower Ref Law, hrlawomaha.com, and links to your LinkedIn profiles and all the socials. And hopefully soon, coming soon, the Hightower Ref Law TikTok channel. So we can get some.
yes.
I mean, I'm just picturing so many dance challenges in the office and at the courtroom. May get some judges.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, we'll get our Billboard judge on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think we go for that. And you can find.
We'll do a jive.
We'll put a link in the show notes too for the Lady Lawyer League with a new season coming up this September. So that's exciting, and it's your third season. And you can find that Lady Lawyer League anywhere you listen to podcasts or watching. If you're watching here, we'll have the links for you in our show notes. Thanks so much, Tracy and Susan. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast. And if you like these episodes, please subscribe. Hit that follow button if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, because with every subscriber, you're actually helping this podcast reach more entrepreneurs and business owners just like you, so we can all achieve those big, hairy, audacious goals. We have resources in the show notes for ways women entrepreneurs can get their business funded and how to contact Susan and Tracy.